it out of thin air usually too.
You think that's a chick?
No chicks have a big ass bicep.
It does.
Yeah, no chick has a big ass bicep at all. That's like, well, that's just basically impossible, right? I don't even. Jeez Louise. Okay, so this is a Joe Rogan clip, and there's some conspiracy dude. Of course, now I can't think of his name, but like he was just this. I guess he's some kind of karate instructor or something like that. Complete conspiracy theorist, Christian. Those are basically synonymous, right? Those two things. And he's on Joe Rogan. And they're saying something really weird about the Statue of Liberty. So, you know, we're gonna get into this. I am Brentley. This is the Punk Apostate. Let's go. All right. So, like I said, Joe Rogan has this dude on. Like I said, I think he's like a karate instructor or something. I don't. Oh, and a comedian. He's a bunch of stuff. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Some dude, some weirdo, and they seem to be playing. If I'm not mistaken, it's the Saint AVS guy, who's just conspiracy city. He's like hardcore fundamentalist, but he is just. It doesn't matter. It like what it is. It can be some kind of silly alien conspiracy. He like contorts his brain into pretzels to like make it into like a Christian fundamentalist, some like conspiracy somehow. Anyway, that's the video that they're watching. But here we go. So let's see what they're talking about here.
After the 1,000-year reign of Christ, he's already been on earth. He has reigned for 1,000 years on earth with his resurrected saints and the elect who survived through tribulation.
Wouldn't there be a record of that?
So I guess it's out the gate. Again, this is just some kind of clip. I'm falling down, like into this with y'all at the same time, basically, right? It seems like even Joe Rogan, you know, here's what the conspiracy is. The tribulation already happened. I remember meeting somebody. It was when I was in a homeless shelter, that was telling me exactly this conspiracy that Jesus already came, and all the, the Antichrist, all that stuff, that's done. That's already happened, right? We're all after the fact now, right? And yeah, it's completely silly. Even Joe Rogan is like, I don't know. I feel like we would have written something down about that at some point. No. Like when Joe Rogan is the voice of reason, I don't know what you're doing.
Doesn't it make sense that Christians would document that? I mean, if there's
he
all
goes
this
over that. No, he goes
documentation.
over like why if there was a record and we knew, then this wouldn't be a test. There wouldn't be a reason for the little season.
Oh yeah, it was a test. Like if we all knew stuff, then God couldn't sufficiently mess with our minds or whatever, right? Like he couldn't be actually testing us, to just decide that whoever's telling us the thing is right about the thing they're telling us. If we had evidence, well, then we wouldn't just have faith to believe whatever somebody tells us, right? We got to just mindlessly accept whatever somebody says, because otherwise we have evidence. Well, that's not really a test. Like, God, it's the same stupid, like absurd fallacies that these people they just repeat the same kind of talking points that get them out of any kind of skepticism.
Little satanic season, he let Satan out. He unchained him. There's a painting of Lucifer, and he looks just like the fucking Statue of Liberty, and he's got a chain, like a shackle around his ankle with a broken chain, and it's a famous painting of Lucifer, and he's like this, right? And then you look at the Statue of Liberty, that's not a woman, that's a dude, and it's got a fucking shackle around its
I thought it was a strong
ankle
chick.
with a broken chain.
The Statue of Liberty has a shackle around its ankle?
Yes. Well, wow. God. But these are the people you're dealing with. He doesn't even know. Yes, of course it has. Haven't you been to New York? You can't see. It's like massive. It's the size of a house. Oh my gosh. And he's like, hold on now. Statue of Liberty has like a chain on its ankle or something. What is going on? Yeah, she was holding the torch too. I don't know if you know that. I don't know what you think that one. I don't know. I don't know what he doesn't know about the Statue of Liberty. Jeez Louise.
The broken chain, just like the
Really?
famous
Find
painting
the
of,
painting
No,
of
you can find that.
Lucifer.
Just punch in Lucifer, Statue of Liberty.
So much.
Love it with these conspiracy people. They get so excited. They're like, I get to show Joe something new, something insane and stupid that he doesn't know about yet. Oh, this is awesome. You know what? Hey, Jane, type in Satan is the Statue of Liberty. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's see. It's like, my goodness.
Fun.
So
Dude,
much fun.
Why
The
are
Statue of Liberty
conspiracies
is not a
so-
chick.
So
That's,
much more.
that's not a
interesting.
chick.
It's not
dude.
chick.
That's not a chick.
It's a
no.
trans dude.
I just thought you had a strong jaw.
Of course, they got to have a little transphobia in there because,
Strong jaw and some,
dude, bro, you know, dude.
Nose.
some boobs, man boobs.
Look at that. That's a painting of
Look at the
Lucifer,
arms.
right?
Whoa,
Right?
damn.
And you think that's a chick?
Go to the
And
full
it
full
Could be
painting.
France just
Look at that.
trolling us though.
Look at the chain. He's got a.
Damn, Lucifer's
No
dick
chain.
is gone. He's got the
No chain. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can do something here. So I got it pulled up. So I wanted to see if we could take a look at it here. Hold on. Share screen. Here we go. It is right here. Okay. This is from X or whatever, right? And this has got to be what he's talking about, right? Could the beloved Statue of Liberty be nothing more than Satan in drag? Okay, from the literal crown of thorns to the chains at the feet, I believe that the statue is actually Lucifer, the light bringer. Okay, now let's take a look here. What? Oh wait. Oh yeah, you could say okay. How are what? I'm so confused. How does this look the same at all? Or even close? They saying like, because what he does have two eyes and a nose, and there's a mouth. That, oh my gosh, yep, she does have two eyes and a nose and a mouth too. This is crazy. Oh my gosh, it must be the exact same thing. Look, he's even holding a book, and I'm not holding the book. That's a spear. Okay, wait, does he's he's holding the torch though? No, just doing metal hand, just doing the death metal hand, which they pulled from Satan because death metal, you know what I mean? But so I mean that makes more sense. But there's no chain down here. What are they talking about? And then look, they have to like pull it from something completely different. Okay, so you got this chain here, and they're like, oh, it's Statue of Liberty. That's the chain that Joe completely missed somehow. And then you have, where was it? Oh yeah, and then you got something called Lucifer. It's I guess another statue or something. They're having to combine stuff now. This is what you have to do when you're just making up crap to make it seem like your pattern actually does match. It's like, well, it does match as long as you pull a bunch of different pictures and statues of Satan and combine them all, and then ignore all the differences, and then just because you got whatever the statue of Lucifer. And it's got the chain broken, but that's some other statue or something. And they're like, oh, and the painting looks like none of this looks similar at all. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's like, but this is the type of thing they have to do when they're looking for patterns. It's like they're gonna find the pattern no matter what. If they set out to be like, oh, look, her face kind of looks like it could be Satan or something, like they'll just go the rest of the way, find all the rest of the data they need, and ignore all the misses, so that they're just confirmation biasing their way through this, just walking away going, man, there's so many similarities. And it's like, yeah, if you like screw with the data sets like crazy, sure, okay, yeah, similarities, but there's more differences, I would argue, than similarities here. But whatever. That's what they're looking at. I just wanted to show you a little closer up because their screen is quite small. Well, let's see what's going on. Here we go. We'll get back to it.
the Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah. Go to
there's the chain.
Look at that right there. Boom. Look at that.
Wow.
Look at that. That's the
Wow. Doing the Owen Wilson. Wow.
foot of the Statue of Liberty. Broken chain with a shackle.
Where?
But Satan has two arms up in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Messed up the number of arms in the air. That's yeah, it's that hurts. That kind of hurts your case there.
I mean, it's
No, I don't
basically
know.
the
I don't know. This is just crazy conspiracy.
The
talk.
chain.
Oh, good. Oh, see, I don't know. I'm just a crazy conspiracy theorist. It's just drawing connections and stuff that has nothing to do with each other. But isn't it neat? Isn't it neat? Isn't apophagia fun? You know,
Completely identical.
It's
This is crazy
basically
shit.
the Elon Musk. My heart goes out to you.
Yo. I'm
yeah, that's the same. That's the same. Yeah. Jesus. Is he really trying to make the case that it's like everybody's saying that looks similar to the Nazi salute, but it's so different that we should whatever, Joe. God, they just kissed the ass of power. Anyway,
gonna say this, dude. Jesus
That is
is
gonna be still
Lord.
framed somewhere on that.
Yes,
I'm all
on
in,
CNN.
dude. I'm all in. I'm all in with all this. With the Shroud of Turin, I'm all in, man.
So,
Christ.
let's see. He's got to pivot now to the shrouded turn because there were too many differences in this picture that even Joe Rogan's like, nah, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it, which is so sad, dude. If you can't convince Joe Rogan of something like this, you got literally less than nothing.
Christ is king.
up and conveniently crop the image to make a false point. Oh, in that image, yeah, in that right there.
I mean, they look pretty fucking similar.
No, two arms, one arm.
Look at this. I was like, they both have limbs and a head. Like, I don't know. What are you talking about, dude? No, it does not look similar. And isn't it funny, though? I almost wonder if he had, instead of picking the debunking picture of it, which was the one they happened to click, that might have been Jamie messing with them, right? But if they happened to have picked the other picture, the one that I was looking at, right, from X or whatever, like that, he would have been like, whoa, this is crazy, dude. Like, but because that debunking came up first, he's like, I don't know. He's just like more skeptical out the gate. It's kind of funny.
The chin.
A dude with an arm up in the
Well,
air.
art. I mean, they modeled it off
Yeah.
of something. They didn't just create it out of thin air. Usually, too.
You think that's
What? Really? They were like, oh no, it had to be modeled after something. And if stuff is modeled after something, well, then that equals the devil. That equals whatever I want to believe they modeled it after, because they gotta model it after something. Not really, man. It's art. Jeez. Have you seen a lot of art? Like, you don't have to model it after literally anything. You can just start drawing, man. You can just make statues on your own. Like,
check?
No chicks have the big ass bicep.
It does.
before.
The Statue of Liberty.
what? No chicks have any. Wow. Okay. Yeah, no chicks have biceps. What are you even talking about? That's great. Like, what chicks do you hang at? Never mind. You know what? Like, and as a dude that goes to the freaking
arm is huge. Look at that forearm.
gym all the time, like, you'd think he would have at least seen some, right? Like, that have some biceps.
That's a jack
Look
forearm.
at the fucking
That's a,
hands.
yeah, it's a dude's hand, dude's arm, dude's face,
Dude's
dude's nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, Joe is really trying here. you lost him at the Satan thing. You do have him at the gender doesn't line up thing, because they're kind of obsessed about that lately.
Statue of Liberty doesn't look like a guy, but it does look like it kind of has boobs.
It doesn't look like a guy. You're right. It looks like a woman.
And he's holding up
because that's what it is.
A torch.
a torch.
Yeah, the torch. Now, oh, he got that one. I don't even know what she's holding up there. What even is that thing?
Lucifer, that's the god of.
Is there boobs in the Statue of Liberty?
illumination.
Like legit boobs? So get a full view of the Statue of Liberty.
She cheeked up.
Did they give her some implants later in the day?
On a Thursday afternoon.
Did they pump out the copper?
Most popular show on the planet, y'all. Like, it's like Beavis and Butthead have like the most famous podcast on the planet. Like, does the Statue of Liberty like have boobs?
Did they get under the copper and heat it up?
Yeah, I've
push
never
it out
seen
a
it
little bit?
close up, man.
Yeah, I've never seen the
The
boobs.
thing does look trans now that we look at it.
Now that you look at it,
France is like,
it could be keying a Tesla. It could be keying a Tesla right now. Okay, so
Ian
here's the full
Kessler,
image
yeah,
of
I
it.
know.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it has boobs. That does not look like. Well, that
A little bit.
right one looks like a little bit of a tit. That looks like a
could be
tit.
gyno though.
This is so weird. Why are you okay? Like, I don't see. First of all, she's wearing this big old robe thing. Okay, it's flowy. Okay, it can cover some stuff. But I'm not going to debunk this. This is ridiculous. Like, what am I even doing? I'm not following him down. Never mind. You know what? God damn it.
Could be gyno. Could be gyno. Ancient steroids.
That no
Damn.
chick, man. God damn, Eddie, why you fucked that up for me?
I don't know, man.
Pretty crazy.
I don't know.
Not at all. Nothing about this is crazy at all. This is the saddest show. Like, who watched? Wow. Okay.
I've been going down
Here,
rabbit holes.
France wanted the Statue of Liberty back.
Yeah.
That looks like a chick.
They said, "Give it back to us. You guys are bad."
Yeah, because it kind of like says like, bring us your, it's all about like people coming over to this country to be able to have liberty, like immigration and all that type of stuff. So I don't know if you know the current immigration climate, but it's it's a lot more like 1930s Germany than it is when the Statue of Liberty was put in there.
Look at that.
Wow, that is, jeez Louise, dude. These conspiracy people, like they're just grasping now. It seems like they're not even trying. They're not even trying to, and it gets all the way up to the top, which is so sad that Joe Rogan is the top, but it gets all the way to the top. and then even Joe is like, I don't know. Could be a dude though. Could be a dude. Could be, let's go with that angle. Let's talk about that for way too long. Yeah, that's great. Jeez Louise. My goodness. I had seen, where is it? It was okay, here it is. There's that Daily Dose of Wisdom guy, right? And he likes to show up in the back end, right? A lot of these, I call them back end boys. It's not what you're thinking of right there. Stop. Get your perf. Stop. Just the back end boys. It's just basically where they say, I'm going to watch a clip and then I'll join you on the back end. That's why I call them that, the back end boys. And there's a bunch of them. Don't do their own content. Basically, they steal content, which is exactly why I talk as much as I do, so that I don't ever end up a back end boy.
Are worthy of provision and protection, all of them. Right? Would you agree with that? All members of the human family, no matter what their achievements, no matter what their attributes, all members of the human family are worthy of all provision and protection.
All right. How we doing? Everybody feeling okay? Doing all right? Who won today? Do we have a winner? We gotta have a winner. Let's see here. Oh, Lord Dissident. What's up, dude? Said, I came, I saw, I am. I think it was you conquered. You missed, and you did. You won. I don't know why you messed up you wow, that's annoying. I'm sorry. It's just, that's gonna bother me the rest of the show. How do you not? I conquered. It's Alexander the Great. Never mind. You know what? Jeez. Okay, and Wolfo's is second. What's up, dude? How you doing? Oh yeah. And let's see. Oh, Andrew's all third. All right. Hey ho. Hey ho. Like, and I forgot about that trend. I feel like that was back in the early 2000s. What's up, ho? You had to be like a middle school girl. No, like high school. I don't know. When it whatever age it got cool to start calling people ho. I don't know. But let's see who else we got here. Hecklex coming in from Twitch. What's up, dude? Oh yeah, we got Theo. What's up, Theo? How we doing, man? We got, let's see, where else? Oh, Blood Badger's here. All right, cool. Let's see. Let me see. This dude needs to lay off the pipe. Yeah, that's right. I think you're right. Well, never mind. I was gonna make a double entendre joke there, and I'm not gonna do it because that would be disrespectful to the people that like laying some pipe. Anyway, Charlie, what's up, Charlie? Joe Rogan actually had a good show a few years ago. The conspiracy shit wasn't as front and center when he had people like DeGrasse Tyson. Oh yeah, okay. I don't know. I missed the whole thing. I'm going to be honest. As far as I could tell, I never was really interested. I thought it was more of a comedy thing, right? Like you're saying Neil deGrasse Tyson used to be. I thought he interviewed comedians and stuff, like other, like Bill Burr and stuff would like go on there or whatever. And that to me made sense because I'm like, oh, okay, if you got like comedian people coming on the show and you're just goofing off, smoking, talking, whatever, like that could be a really entertaining show, especially with people like Bill Burr and actually funny people, right? But it's, I didn't even realize he had people like Neil deGrasse Tyson on. So that's a major stretch from what I would have thought. But jeez, that's crazy. Oh yeah. All right, let me go down. Oh, Grand Theft Auto bot, what's up, dude? I might have to do that thing where I read it off of the other page or whatever. Grand Theft Auto bot 7 Statue of Liberty is trans. Give it back to France. Say, Bradley. Hey, what's up? Yeah, that's fun. Let's see here. All right. Drusilla said, don't really get what's funny about almost no one respecting your government anymore, Joe. Yeah, yeah. I don't. I don't know. With that one, it's especially in a sense where it's like we like that it's burning down. You know, Jesus, I don't know. It's just infuriating to me. So it's like I'm trying not to focus on it too much. Let's say what Matt Dillahunty's going. Matt Dillahunty, what's Matt doing? He's doing something.
I have no idea.
Mm-hmm. That's a problem.
You say Hitler comes to me and says, you wouldn't believe how much better our society is off now that we're eliminating these people. Then you have to go back and look at it and say, okay, what have you lost? You have to point to something where they're adding value to society.
So they have to achieve, they have to add value. But they don't have value.
Yeah.
The conversation that you're about to watch features what is maybe the best ever, at least the best that I've seen, conversation.
This looks like it's super old. Like, it's so weird. This dude just goes traipsing through like decades old debates with Matt Dillahunty in order to, and he loves these objective morality conversations. I'm just always curious as to like how they manage to misunderstand objective morality over and over and over again. And that's exactly what they do. They do misunderstand it, it seems, constantly.
Between an atheist and a Christian about morality and how objective morality actually does point us to the existence of God. Now, Matt Dillahunty is going to try to dodge and avoid this logical conclusion in a number of ways, but watch how Glenn's...
I don't understand that. Like, how does like objective morality point to a God as a conclusion, or whatever, like as a logical conclusion? If he's talking about it from like the William Lane Craig perspective, where he's basically just saying, if there is no such thing as objective morality, or if there is no God, then there is no objective morality. And then that means that it would not be objectively immoral, and then describes some like extremely heinous act. And then is like, that wouldn't be objectively immoral if there weren't a God, which really just ends up being like, so wouldn't you rather there be a God so that that is objectively immoral? Like, it's just a like, wouldn't you rather a God exists so that you can feel better about this? Like, that's all it really boils down to, it seems. But
Scrivener slowly corners him into the logically necessary conclusion here. Let's get into this.
The fact that we seem to have a desire for meaning, purpose, value, all of those things, he'll use as evidence for the God, because that serves as an explanation for it. I can do that with that exact same example. The reason that Glenn sees God as the justification for that is because he's uncomfortable with the possibility that there is.
Theo said, you can be an atheist, moral. See, I'm not as up on all of the different moral philosophy terms. Dang it, where did it go? Of course, now I can't see it. But you're basically saying you could be a secularist and believe in objective morality, right? Is that what you're saying? Are you pro objective morality? Okay, yeah. Two Dillahunty once. He raged fast. Well, it's like, okay, because I have heard this put where it's like there can be like an objective moral standard, but it would be like somewhere out in the ether, and it's like we don't have it has to be completely devoid of epistemology, correct? Because if it's just like conceptually out there somewhere, nobody can actually say what it is, right? Necessarily, but that it exists as a concept out in the void somewhere or whatever. Which to me, I was only just like, so what? Who cares? Like, even to make that case, if nobody can know what it is and know what that standard is, then what's the point? The way that you can put things into objective terms, as far as I can tell, is when you provide a goal. If we have a goal, then it's like what Matt Dillahunty would say. I'm sure you've heard him say this, where it's if you get closer or further away from that goal, then that you can objectively determine if said action gets closer or further away from that goal. But as far as I can tell, if we're talking about human behavior and whether or not it is good or bad, how the hell do you do that without it being an opinion? We're talking about a behavior, whether and being good or bad. How do you do that outside of all opinion? How can something be good or bad outside of all opinion? That doesn't make any sense to me. The only way, like I said, you could do it is if you put some kind of an objective or whatever, and then you can see if you get closer or further away from it. But and I know that there are like emotivists and anti-realists and moral realists and all this type of stuff. I'm not really familiar as to like each one of those, what they mean and what their arguments are and stuff like that. I'm interested. If you want to break any of this down for me, let me know. I always like to learn stuff, right?
Isn't an explanation for it, or that this isn't some sort of universal truth. So a preference for, I want there to be intrinsic human dignity, gets you to, hey, if there was a God, there would be human dignity because this God is guaranteeing it. And so that same circular preference is there. I'm just eliminating both of them and saying, I'm going to go ahead because I care about human beings and I value human beings because I am one, and say, whether there's a God or not, this is what I'm going to go for. And if there's a God that has a better way, they can demonstrate it. Why isn't a Damascus Road experience good enough for everybody?
And one thing I would say is that, like, when it comes to morality or whatever, like, they sit there and will say that their beliefs about what they think a God wants everybody to behave like is objectively moral, right? But that's just really their preference. They try to say like morality just to like a secular person excuse me, it's just a preference, but it's just a preference to them. They're just basing their preference off of their subjective interpretation of their doctrine, of their denomination, of their religion. It's a lot more subjective, I would argue, than somebody who is secular that could probably agree with a Hindu, a Muslim, a Buddhist, an atheist, agnostic, all about like what behaviors would be wrong or right, because it's not dependent on a single individual's worldview of what they think their God wants people to behave like. You know what I mean? So to me, it's still a preference. They're just justifying their preference through a magic. You got to listen to me and do what I say, because this isn't me. Okay. It's coming from a magic. Okay. The magic that made you too. So you better bunny up, buddy, bunny up. Okay. Cause I'm telling you what the God is actually. Well, none of that's true. They're just saying what how they would like to interpret some cryptic holy texts, as to like why they think people should behave the way they subjectively interpret their God to want everybody to behave. But a lot of that just has to do with them. It's a Rorschach test.
So the moral argument for God's existence is not that we need some kind of arbitrary moral figure who has some whims and he will enforce them at the point of hell, and therefore it would be better if we want to live in a moral world to believe in such a God. The moral argument for God's existence is there is an objective realm of moral values, and the explanation for that objective realm of moral values is not going to be a material cause, because morals are not material things, right? Moral values are not reducible to just biological reality, and thank God for that, because biological reality is the survival of the fittest, okay? But moral values are something distinct from biological values, natural values. You cannot get from those natural values to the ethical values. You can't get from an is to an ought. And you sure can't get from preferences to an ought. You can't get from a like to an ought.
What? Of course you can. You can always get from preferences to an ought.
No, you can only get from preferences to another preference. It just becomes another preference.
It's your preference of what an ought should be. It's not what a preference is.
Up with force.
He says that you can get from an is to an ought, but listen to how he defines that bridge being crossed and see if you can recognize the massive problem here in his reasoning.
The problem is, all right, we're not going to necessarily. So first of all, I don't think we disagree on the is ought dilemma, but as soon as you get into preferences, that's the objection. The reason you can't get from an is ought is that you have to inject a preference. It's injecting the preference that gets you to the ought.
You have to like inject like what you would the basis of why, right? Like can't just say this is the way, and so that's why we should do it, without there being like, because humans deserve to have dignity and stuff like that. You have to have some kind of underlying premise, right? As far as I understand.
Like to live in a world where this happens, therefore I ought to do that. The objection on the Izot thing is this thing. If I start with the foundation of I would like to, it's not a problem with what it leads to, but why should I like
with
to?
the power, I suppose, is what I'm getting.
Sometimes I feel like with the philosophy stuff, it gets so deep. Theo said, oh boy, is he messing up? Only subjects have values, so you can stop there if you want to cut it out, but you can also argue there are rules of fairness that's intersubjective. Okay, I don't know what that and not one-sided. Okay, so like you're saying, like as far as like fairness goes, that would be outside of somebody's preference because there's an objective fair, right? There's an objective, like everybody has equal whatever it might be. Obviously, I don't think many people would say it has to be equal outcomes, but a lot of times they'll say it has to be equal opportunity and stuff like that. And you can get like down in the trenches of that stuff. And I guess I could see where you're coming from there. It just it still seems like it still feels like it would still be subjective because it's outside. I mean, I guess you were saying like parts of it are objective. Okay, that's it. But isn't that with the basis of the values being what people should find valuable to begin with? Isn't that sort of just like as something that as a basis, and then you go on from there? Because that still feels like the Izot thing. But I don't know.
Going to say, if the person in power, say the Hitler, simply has a very different conception of what
they always do this.
The best is for his life compared to your life, then do you have any moral if you like, force to say you're doing something wrong? Isn't he just going with his preferences as opposed to your preferences?
Yes.
You can see the gears turning here. He's going, is it really good for me to be saying that Hitler says, I would like there to be a world without any Jews, therefore I ought to go about doing the Holocaust? I think that the chickens are coming home to roost here.
Yeah, but again, like that's just more about might is right. As long as you got the power, then other people's preferences don't count. Because, you know, like a lot of times they'll be like, oh, so if a society decides it, well, then that means that the Nazis were okay because, you know, they, as a society, they decided, which as a society, they didn't decide. It was the people with power decided to throw those great, because the Jewish people are members of that society. So were the trans people, so were the black people. They were all members of that society. So it wouldn't be society, it'd just be the people with the power within the society, which that's always been what morality has been, is trying to get the people with the power to acknowledge that the people without the power matter, right? And that's always been kind of the conflict there. But, you know, and that's why morality is kind of updated as we went, because, you know, we saw people that have the least amount of power as, you know, valuable human beings, to whereas we didn't before, which is ironic given that, you know, they were trying to argue that Christianity is the basis for all morality, when their version of morality, if you take it back to its core, included things like slavery. So the every human life matters bullshit. Okay, because the slaves' lives didn't matter, and the Bible even says that. It says you can even beat them if you want to, you know, as long as they get up after a couple days. You haven't done anything wrong because they're just property. Humans could be property according to the objectively moral God. And yet that objective morality that allowed for slavery, what changed over time? How could that possibly be objective? Is this where it falls apart so quickly?
Let's keep watching this.
So what is it that's up here that says those preferences are better and those preferences are worse?
This is
what is that?
This is the objection that's often launched. So I could sit down with Hitler. I wouldn't, because he's dead. But I could sit down with Hitler, and if we could find the thing that we agree about, that we care about, we can then demonstrate which one of our preferences are in conflict with that. Because what we do as human beings is often dilute.
Okay. Theo, so I know I'm picking a lot of Theo because like he's breaking stuff down for me, I think. So that's BS. What he's saying, ethics do have a lot to do with natural desires, and you can get an ought from an is. Right. It's funny you said that, because I was thinking that too, because I'm like, a lot of us, you know, it makes good sense when you say that, like, we get our moral values from evolution, the fact that we evolved as a social species. So we want communities where, you know, people aren't hurting other people all the time, right? Which is where we get a lot of our morals from, is like societies, and then people having something done to them and then being like, hey, that was bad, we shouldn't do that anymore. And someone be like, no, that wasn't bad, okay, let's go to the court. And then like, hey, you know, 9 of y'all, you decide between me and him what's going to, or a judge, I guess it would be a judge. But that's why we've done that for this long, because we you know, that we're deciding as a people like what is okay and what isn't within the society, and what works out best and what doesn't. And yeah, because it's very murky. It's not perfect, and there's a lot of ways to hurt people that isn't just running up and punching somebody in the face. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things you can do that's unfair that isn't just stealing somebody's stuff or whatever, right? So it gets in the trenches there. But yeah, no, oh yeah, from what I was saying, it's like you get it from the evolutionary standpoint, though, of like a social species, and you want the best not just survival, but the best existence for everybody, you know, as that social species. So it makes sense to encourage people to behave kindly to even the least of these, right? Or just the people with the least amount of power. Because that's what you would want if you were that person with the least amount of power. Also, just you know, promoting empathy means that it's not ever going to get back to you. Because if you promote like harming a group of people because they are that group of people, then at some point that same logic is going to come back at you. You know. Anyway,
ourselves, and we look at our preferences and assume they're right. But they're going to conflict with something foundational, which is basically at the beginning of that superiority to secular morality talk. I talked about how you could begin with, let's say, 3 foundational premises. Life is generally preferable to death. Health is generally preferable to sickness, and pleasure is generally preferable to pain. None of them are universally true. Sometimes pain is preferable. Sometimes death may be preferable, which is why I support.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you. I'm like, I never know if I'm like way off when it comes to philosophy stuff, because it's so in depth. You know what I mean? But all right, no, I appreciate that. Okay, so I'm at least sort of right.
Death with dignity for people who no longer have any hope of a quality of life, and with their individual autonomy and control over their own life. But you can begin with those and you can build something. But you can start with anything. You could start with death is better than life, and what you get to is extinction. Sure. And so if I find something, I think Hitler probably, I mean, there's the old joke, Hitler probably loved his mother too. Hitler probably valued human life, just had justifications for excluding certain others.
Right. And you think you could reason Hitler into...
I don't know that I necessarily could.
Why
because
wouldn't he
there are
reason
people,
you into his way?
It might be.
It might be the case that Hitler could reason you into his way of thinking. That's a fairly awkward thing to admit on the internet.
I'm not saying that that's not necessarily the case. I'm saying if you can show that what your actions are and the things that you're justifying are in conflict with a foundation that you agree with, that's where the problem is.
Right.
Okay, so the kid didn't seem to understand what he was saying. He was saying like that as long as it's as long as it's congruent with the basis of it, you know, that, but like if they started from that particular basis, that seemed to be what he was saying.
And what if it's the establishment of the master race? Because if the fittest do survive, then wouldn't it be nice if the fittest should survive? Like we take that hop, skip, and a jump, and
sure. And then you ask what criteria are you using to determine fittest?
And again, we're having a symposium when we should be fighting a war, and this is.
No, we should always be having a symposium so we don't have to fight wars. Why would anybody ever say we should be fighting a war?
You sound like Neville Chamberlain. You know, I found peace in our time with Hitler because I'm going to sit down with him.
Well, and I'm sorry that advocating for reasoning rather than blowing crap up is so anathema.
I think we tried to reason with him.
I'm not saying. See this. Okay, here's where the confusion is. I'm not saying.
I've never. It's kind of odd because I don't think I've ever seen this dialogue before. And it's just taking like all these odd directions here. I'm not really even sure. Like I don't know.
After the war started, send Matt in, and he can sit down with Hitler.
He's very clever.
We're using a precise example to talk about a more abstract one, which is essentially, let's say you and I disagree on you want to take some action. You want to exterminate some portion of the population. The process that I'm advocating for is for us to figure out what shared foundation we have, if any, which we'll find something shared, and show which one of us is more in conflict with and which one of us is more in keeping with that foundation. Is it always going to be the case? No. But you asked how you would actually solve that, and I would. And if it didn't work, I'd kill him.
Jeez Louise. This is a wacky way to go about this. I'm like trying to figure out exactly what kind of point he's making, other than it seems like I said, they're found like, so you find something in common with somebody. Sorry, I'm just thinking out loud. You find something in common with somebody, and then you work out from that how to behave. And then even if you disagree with somebody, you start from your common ground, and then you go to change. I don't know. I'd have to look at specific. To me, as far as I can tell, what's best for like all the people, I think, is, you know, as far as like people treating people the way they would want to be treated, I think is a pretty nice baseline. When you get too abstract like this, I feel like it gets really weird, because I don't even know exactly where, like, what he's trying to describe here.
Keeping with that foundation. Is it always going to be the case? No. But you asked how you would actually solve that, and I would. And if it didn't work, I'd kill him.
Oh, is that just about like reasoning with each other? Like that's how, like, just changing minds?
And if well-being, just very vaguely just defined, if well-being is the metric that we're using,
yeah.
And if Hitler could say, "Oh, we are so much better off without the disabled," you have no idea. You know, we're soaring our industry, our numbers are through the roof, our well-being is doing.
You're saying like the well-being of those people doesn't matter. That's where, like, this is what I'm always saying. It's like the well-being of they're always trying to say that's like one person's well-being doesn't count, and then trying to act like that somehow makes the whole concept of well-being like illogical or something. But it's not. You're saying that according to your interpretation, I guess this is where we get back to being subjective, but according to your subjective interpretation, the well-being of some of the people would be better if we got rid of these other people. But again, like, if you follow that logic out, it's going to get you at some point. This is why I always say it, because you're always going to be at some point like part of some sort of out group that may actually need some help or need something. And so if you don't advocate for helping the people that need help by saying that the rest of us would be better that don't need help, with whatever, then that's going to be you eventually if you follow that down the line. I don't know if that's at all what they're like describing here, because they're talking about it in such an odd way that I've never really heard anybody describe it like.
Incredibly well once we eliminate the sick, the weak, the handicapped. Is he right at that point?
Well, that's when you go through and you talk about what data are you looking at to define well-being, because
what data?
Yeah.
You're having that conversation about the data because he's just told you I've eliminated the handicaps.
It's not like I'm talking. No.
Okay, but because it is happening right now. Okay, there is a Down syndrome population, for instance, that's being eliminated globally right now, and we're having a conversation about it. Okay, and I think it's better to have a conversation than to blow people up and all that sort of stuff. But it's a very live issue. I mean, it's not just the Godwin's rule.
I'm just going with the example that you say Hitler comes to me and says, "You wouldn't believe how much better our society is off now that we're eliminating these people." Then you have to go back and look at it and say, okay, what have you lost? Is your society better? And are you just looking at the short term? Did you, in fact, how do you know that you didn't lose a cure for disease? How do you know that you're not worse off because it has fundamentally changed your psyche? How do you know that you're not worse off because you've lost art? Because you...
Well, and you also lost, like, you're like harming a bunch of people whose loved ones would be taken out in that regard, right? Like, they're acting like there's just like nobody like would love these people, and you could go even with like homeless people or whatever you want to say, like whatever you think the person is that has the least amount of people that care about them, whatever. Like, they still have people that care about them. I don't know. It just seems strange to act like that doesn't matter.
You've lost human connection. It's not just see, this is one of the problems that you could point out to people that are going down there. well-being is not just what's my
aren't those
financial
people's work
well-being?
lives
Yeah,
worth
okay.
something?
I was gonna say because I'm fundamentally, I'm gonna be honest. I don't even really get what Matt's trying to say, but I think you nailed it, Theo. It's like he's going utilitarian, right? Just full stop. And it's like, I don't know. See, this is where I get. I don't know. I feel like sometimes these the philosophy can be a bit absolutist, because it's like it's either always this or always that. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just like this, just the way it tends to sound to me at times. But you know, a lot of times it'll be like if it's just based on the utility and that's it, right? Or just based on your emotions or something like that, and that's it. And isn't there a way to like kind of like stack some stuff? Can't we do like multiple layers of like be this and that? It doesn't have to be just one. Like it could be like for the utility plus, you know, people won't, you know, they're emotionally be satisfied because we're not hurting a bunch of people or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And when it gets to stuff like this, I feel like I remember Alex O'Connor talking about how it was, he's an emotivist. And that meant like, it always comes back to just, I don't know, it's just my emotions on it or something like that. And I was like, that seems overly simplistic too. But it's like, oh, okay, 100%. Right. I'd say this is where it gets like philosophy just gets so complicated so quick. And it's like, and half the time I'm like, I don't know if this needs to be this complicated, you know, but I guess that's philosophy. Let's overcomplicate the simple and let's oversimplify the complicated, and then bounce back and forth between those two over and over ad nauseum.
Even if they didn't produce a cure for cancer or great works of
That
art.
pissed Theo off. He's like, what the no, it's not doing. I mean, it kind of is, but it's the fun. That's the fun part of it. What do you?
Even if they just, you know, sat around and consumed all the resources that all the able-bodied people were doing.
If somebody sat around and
I
did
get
nothing
that.
but consume, I don't know how you could consider that as adding value. You have to point to something where they're adding value to society.
Is that what,
Not-
so they have to achieve, they have to add value,
So
but they don't have value.
yeah. So this is what I'm saying when I say that there's no intrinsic value to it, but
Right.
that I value, that
Yeah,
I
'cause he's-
value human life. And
Intrinsic, like in that's in the sense of like what he's saying, like there is no necessarily like the universe, like we matter to the universe. So you have to matter to somebody, right? If something is meaningful and valuable, you can't just have something like valuable to nobody. That's not how value, like the concept of being valuable works. You have to be valuable to somebody. So you can't be valuable outside of everybody, everybody's opinion, because you can't be valuable to no one. That just doesn't make sense.
and that everybody,
I think that's what he's saying.
almost
Who's
everybody,
But
seems-
who's like you, Matt Dillahunty?
I'm speaking specifically for me, but
Mhm.
also
But if
I
someone
think
else
this.
doesn't, you try to
What-
reason them out of it. But
What? Yes. What do you?
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
See, you sit there. And you, okay, let's try it. I don't value human life. Change my mind.
Look at the Nazis. Look at that vision of humanity.
I don't care.
Mhm,
I don't value human life. Change my mind.
mhm. You have yourself a humanity that has dignity. You might not believe it right now.
I don't. Change my mind.
I'm trying to change your mind by saying without achievements, without attributes, without contributing a penny of money, without expending a calorie of effort.
I worry, by the way,
You
that
are
this is going to
loved.
get cut as if this is really me saying this when it's not.
And I'm counseling you or something. Yeah, I'm your therapist.
The funny thing is that it is really him saying this. He's just kind of going into a slightly more caricaturized version of what he's actually saying, but he is actually saying that.
No, he's not. What are you talking about? Oh, because he said that nobody intrinsically has value. Because again, he doesn't understand that you can't have value to nobody.
Literally just spent 10 minutes saying that humans don't have intrinsic value, but that they're only valuable, that we are only valuable, that any person is only valuable.
But you don't believe they're intrinsically valuable either. You just think people are valuable because they're valuable to your God. That's still valuable to something that you believe. It's like weird because you skip yourself and go straight to a God, and that's what makes us valuable. But that's still not valuable outside of all opinion.
To the extent that they're able to contribute something to society. I mean, that's literally what he just said. And then there's another thing here that's so important is when they kind of go into the little role play.
No, because then, see, I don't really know like what Matt was saying, but like as far as I understand, encouraging people to help people that can't take care of themselves, that don't have anything like utilitarian, as it were, to contribute to the thing, is still a good thing, because eventually you're going to be that person that needs help. Like we're all going to get old. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like it's just, if you stick with that same line of reasoning, you're going to end up, screwing yourself.
Here, Glenn basically has to appeal to a biblical portrait of what a human being is, and Matt plays the same game that he always plays, which is I'm not convinced. I'm just not convinced. And what's so
no, he's trying to show you that you can't. If somebody just doesn't want to listen, then they're just not going to. Like when it comes to you can't make somebody see humans as valuable if they don't see humans as valuable. That's why you kind of have to take it from a different perspective. You have to say, as long as people care about this stuff, then this is what's best for everybody, or whatever. It's not. That's why it's it is subjective ultimately, because you can't force somebody to care about stuff they don't care about.
Ironic and also horrifying about that is that ultimately, yes, you either do have to actually believe that what God says about humans is true. You actually have to believe that the Bible is revealing something that is true, that we are actually different from the rest of creation, that we're actually made in the image of God, that we have intrinsic value, that we're not.
They always say that. They always say it's because we're made in the image of God. So if God didn't make it, if he made us in a different image, would we not have value? If we found out that was a mistranslation and we weren't made in God's image, would we cease to have value?
Like the chairs that we're sitting on, that we're not just material, that we actually are ensouled creatures that have eternity in our hearts, that are created with love, and that are designed to be in union with a good and loving God. You either have to believe that or not. There is definitely an aspect of faith here. But the problem is that if you don't believe that, you're then going to end up where Matt ends up, saying that we are just material, that we don't actually have intrinsic value, that if Hitler's assessment about the Holocaust is really good and true, or if he goes through with it and if he believes that it's good and true, then for him it is good and true. This is where the kind of the philosophical gets really scary, because, and this is also how atheists.
Yeah, because it would be, to him it is good, right? That's why you should. I think, like I said, it's always boils down to being subjective, but we should be able to put it into objective terms as it applies to the goal. If we can, as far as the human well-being and a community structure that's functional for even the least among us, even those that need the most help. It's in our best interest to help the people that need the most help, or at least support structures that make it so that those people can have access to the resources that they need, because one day we might need access to those resources. There's nothing that says that we won't. I won't get hit by a car tomorrow or something and then need some kind of assistance. And so then I would have, if I would have supported people that don't contribute anything to society as being cast out of it, well, then I would have, by my own beliefs, cast myself out of society as soon as I'm no longer of service to it. So that's why I think when we do have these conversations, we have to look at it from a more community-centric perspective, right? And not the people with power thing, which is all they seem to do. They're just well, what if the people with the power, what if what they think is cruel and disgusting and they think that's right? Yeah, they'd be wrong about that. I don't know what to tell you, man. And you go well, why would they be wrong? Well, because that's cruel, and you wouldn't want somebody to, nobody would want to be treated like that, including them. So I don't, it just gets wild when you get down to the baseline brackets on this sucker.
Atheism. I'm sorry, but atheism, in the sense that it is materialistic, in the sense that it subtracts God, and in doing so, it subtracts the image of God from man, becomes extremely dangerous. This is why, although he pushed back earlier and said that
subtracts the image of God. It's like the image of God thing. It's like that is connected to people mattering for some reason. I cannot figure it out.
Jordan Peterson misunderstood that he was talking about secular humanist societies, not these atheistic top-down regimes. But I'm sorry, the philosophy leads you there. If you dehumanize humans, if you say that we don't have intrinsic value, you are far more likely to carry out atrocities. I mean,
oh my God, it's so crazy that they can do this though too, because they're like sitting there acting like they believe that all these humans are valuable and everything, and yet we constantly hear from these Christians about how as long as they think some God is like, you know, teaching somebody a lesson, somebody else's suffering doesn't matter. You know, and yet they'll turn around and be like, we need a God so that we can actually care about the people suffering and everything. And then it's like, but then they'll turn around and literally in practice, I don't know, support regimes that like ship people off to like prisons in other countries just because they look like they might might be related to something that's a crime, maybe, or just we could say that they're in a crime, and don't care about those people. They're just getting thrown out and removed from society. Don't worry about it. Don't care about them. They don't matter. They're all evil, criminal. They're brown people. They don't matter. Like it's always the right-wing Christians like this weirdo that support that type of stuff. And then they use Christianity a lot of times to justify it. Like, well, God must have a plan. God's looking out for them. If they aren't, if there was somebody that got picked up in one of those ICE raids or whatever, and they're just being sent off to a foreign prison and they're innocent, well, God's going to handle that. Okay. You know, they're going to break out with a spoon or something, right? God will give them a spoon, and then they'll let them, that's how they have to think, because they're just like, it's already taken care of. Like, I don't have to care about other people's well-being because God's got it. Problem is he fucking doesn't.
It's so obviously the case. And so, yes, this little role play thing here is, you know, he's like, I hope someone doesn't clip this. Well, bro, I'm clipping it, Matt. I'm clipping it because you said it. You said it before you went into the role play. And it's a logic. I don't blame you for saying it in the sense that it's the logical outcome of an atheistic, materialistic worldview, that you can't place human value into anything other than
they always make it seem like atheism like informs morality somehow. It doesn't. That's not, you have to have a separate thing for that. Just because yours comes as a package deal, and it really doesn't, because you all disagree about what is moral and immoral all the freaking time. But you think that atheism comes as a package deal too? It doesn't. We just recognize that there are no gods, that we're a community of people, of self-aware beings that developed on this rock flying through space, and we're the only ones that can decide what happens for us. We're in this together, and that's it. There is no other thing driving this sucker, and we got to do our best together. There's that. Like, that is, that's the reality of it. Now we can go from there and say, like, okay, so that's why secular humanism is a good thing, right? And then you could take that and go, okay, well, the well-being of all living creatures and stuff. And then you can go, okay, well, then we shouldn't be eating meat. And then we could start doing all that, and take it down that line. But that's why humanism kind of stops at the humans, right? Cuts it off there. I think Theo was saying that they go with the singer, is it Peter Singer? His like perspective on that, where you just kind of keep it going to the animal kingdom, which makes good sense as far as just like a moral philosophy structure kind of thing. But like, I don't want to, but anyway, and I know it's also better for climate change to not eat. Anyway, I'm not going to stop eating meat yet. I haven't fully been convinced.
And might makes right, or cultural preferences, or ethical emotivism, or all of these things, but none of these things.
See, ethical emotivism, like, isn't that? And that's Theo. What is ethical emotivism? What is that? Can you break that? Did you already break this down and I missed it? Okay. Oh wait, we'll get Rawls' veil. Oh yeah, there you go. Rawls' veil of ignorance. I know this one. Okay, Rawls' veil of ignorance is like where it's only fair if it's fair for all. Yeah, because you don't know who you're going to end up being in the society. So you craft a society where you don't know if you're going to be the poorest person or the richest person. What would that be? Yeah, and that's a great way to to look at things, just so you can see things from a more fair perspective, more compassionate perspective. Because again, might doesn't make right. Just because somebody has the power doesn't mean that they're correct just because they have more power, you know, and that they need help the least. Because that's really what it boils down to, is the people with the most power need help the least often, right? But most of us at some point are going to be, they're going to need help. We're going to need each other, right? We don't just live on our own. We're a community for a reason. And so we need to look at things that way, as far as I could tell. But again, when we start boiling it down to like the exact baseline of like what is where you get your values from and stuff like that, we get it from us, from people. That's all. That's all I can tell. And then some people just go, oh no, we get my values from me, the person, but I think that I get them from a God. And that's it. That's all. That's the difference here. Is, you know, the values come from people, but some of them claim they come from a magic that they can't demonstrate exists.
Can actually amount to an ought. None of these things can actually tell you what someone ought to or ought not to do. You actually have no authority to use to condemn somebody like Hitler. And so you go as far as in this clip saying that you might even be convinced by Hitler that he was right. That's why this is so dangerous. That's why this is so horrifying. That's why this must be resisted at all cost.
I don't think that's what he was meaning to say, but maybe I missed the point because it got so freaking abstract there for a minute.
And we have to come back to the biblical portrait of what we are, that we are.
But the crazy thing too is that based on that, like he was like saying, this is so wild. He's saying, Matt Dillahunty said, I could be convinced to whatever, have like Hitler's values or whatever, right? And yet we're seeing that happen on the right. They are having that dude specifically values and they're buying it. And they think some people deserve less freedoms, less rights. And like some people don't even deserve due process when they're accused of a crime or whatever. They don't even get to defend themselves. They just get shipped off, right? And stuff like that. Like we have like legit like what seems like concentration camps like popping up right now because like it's crazy. But yet he's on that side. That's the side of history this guy's on. Yeah, this guy's not. Right. And it's so ironic because he's like, well, but he said he could be convinced to do the Hitler stuff. And it's like, you already are, dude. Like you basically already are. That's and they're using your God to fucking do it.
Different from the rest of creation, that we are made in the image of God, that we do have intrinsic value. This is so important for not only for society in the world now, but this is important for you to understand for your own good and for your eternal good. The price tag of rejecting God is also that you reject your own self.
What?
And it's not worth it. Whatever thing.
What the hell are you talking about? The price tag of rejecting God is that you reject yourself. I thought that's what you have to do to be in your God's favor, is to reject yourself. Isn't that the whole thing? You know, die to self. What you want doesn't matter anymore. It's whatever somebody else says that a God wants, and you got to just go along with it, right? Because what you want doesn't matter. Because you've sacrificed, you're a living sacrifice to, well, the person that has convinced you that their God wants you to be, whatever they call a living sacrifice, because that's what it really boils down to. But isn't that you? Like, I'm so confused here.
You think about God that is bad, or think about Christianity or church or whatever kind of things that you're thinking about that you don't want to believe God for. I'm telling you, it is not worth it, because the price tag is that in your rejection of God, you are.
Did I say fewer? Did I say less freedoms? Because that could easily, I get corrected on that a lot. Nikki just goes crazy about that one. She's like, it's fewer. It's not less. But yeah, so I apologize if I got that wrong.
Also literally reject yourself and your fellow man, and the entire human race is entirely devalued, dehumanized, and that leads to, and it has already proven to lead to times almost 100 million times over in the 20th century alone, the massive loss of human life. And so, yeah, this is a very practical example of it. But this,
what's so crazy is that like we're the ones more often, the humanists, the secularists, we're the ones saying that certain people's well-being matters, and they will say it's not. Yet they say the atheists and the secularists and the humanists and stuff are the ones saying that nobody does matter, because we're saying nobody matters to the universe. That's what we're saying. Like when you say like nothing intrinsically matters, yeah, nothing matters to the universe. Everything that matters to me, the person, the one doing the thinking, the one that stuff could possibly matter to, because there isn't, the universe isn't thinking. It doesn't care about anything. So it doesn't think anything matters. We're the ones that think stuff matters. It's just acknowledging that fact. And it's like when they hear, well, nothing matters to the universe, or like nothing intrinsically matters, like, oh, see, I knew it. Christians care about human life more than those people do. And then they're the ones that are literally trying to remove people's rights to a very scary degree, where we basically almost have exactly Germany 1930s happening right now and having people like this support it. And yet he's the one where human life does matter to him.
This is why morality on atheism is totally incoherent. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And more than it just being incoherent, it's literally scary. Like it's literally dangerous. If you actually,
Kent said humanism dehumanizing must have missed something. Yeah, I know this one has gotten wacky. It's interesting. I was not expecting it. I didn't watch this like at all, except for like the first couple of minutes. So I wasn't expecting it to go this wacky. But because he's equivocating atheism with nihilism or whatever. Like atheist in like moral nihilism, right? Because there's different kinds of nihilism, and completely ignoring humanism, right? Which is the thing that a lot of atheists, not all of them, but that turn to as our moral framework, right? And so he's just saying that he's ignoring that as even a concept, and then just saying atheism says that nobody has any more values. And it's kind of true, because atheism doesn't say anything about anything other than gods aren't real, and that's it. So, but that's why you're an atheist plus something else that would determine whether or not people have values or not. Atheism doesn't say one thing or the other about that, because it's not a moral framework. The humanism thing is, but they have to do this equivocation thing, because they got to dishonestly make it seem like the atheist is the one that doesn't care about any human life or whatever, which is just insane. Just because they will they also equivocate on what like a human life is and a person and stuff like that. And so they will also take that position when it comes to abortion and things like that. But
carefully listen to what Matt Dillahunty is saying here. It's actually horrifying in the sense that you can understand how this flawed worldview's basis for morality leads you to moral atrocity in a consistent and logical manner.
But dude, we've literally seen people that have done more damage in the name of the God that you think apparently gave everybody value. Yet when they're doing those atrocities in the name of the God that they thought ordered them to take the lives of people that their God said didn't matter, that doesn't count. Like the Puritans burned people because somebody pointed at them and said they had a dream that they were a witch. Christians did that. Did that witch have value? Did that, is it just a person? It's just a woman. Just a woman that somebody claimed was a witch. Did they not have value? Why was it that happened then? If everybody has value according to your belief system, why is the belief system that's been around a hell of a lot longer than humanism? Why is it that if we go back through history, there's been atrocity after atrocity after atrocity after atrocity of a bunch of people that believe exactly your shit? Huh? Why is that?
I think that's all that I have to say for now, but I hope that you guys enjoyed this. By the way, Glenn.
I actually did. This one was a bit more entertaining than I thought it would be. got me thinking a little bit.
Is going to be coming on the podcast with me in the near future. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe so that you don't miss that conversation. Glenn is awesome. We're going to do like a hour plus podcast ourselves. We're going to debrief on some of this Matt Dillahunty stuff and also talk about a lot of things in the world and how the world has changed over the last 5 or so years since the time of this recording. So
okay, so it is like 5 years old. Okay, well, it's odd that he said that. Reverend, what's up, dude? Said if morality comes from God, then anyone who says God says can be the arbiter of morality. This knife cuts both ways. There is no objective moral absolute in any system. Exactly. See, that's my point too. It's like they can always just say that the magic nothing that they're pointing to said that it's okay. That yeah, humans have, and it's like, the crazy thing with them is, especially if you get down to like divine command theory and stuff, it doesn't even have to be consistent. It can be, oh no, I believe that all humans intrinsically have value because of my God made us in his image, but my God said that that person needs to not exist because of the ultimate plan that I just don't know about. Okay, have you ever seen Frailty? It's a frailty situation. He's got these magic gloves, right? He touches them with the magic gloves, and there's an axe. You got to get the axe, and then you got to get your two kiddos to get in on it and everything with the magic stuff. Whatever. Anyway, and the two people are like, yeah, no, I remember that movie. It's a very old movie, but it was really good though. It's creepy as hell. But yeah, no, but they thought they were doing God's work. That's the point. And they ended up just being a serial unaliver. And but anyway, don't want to spoil it. But hold on, what's the time we got? 1:11. Oh, good. We got time. All right, now for some fun. That was like some silliness. Well, that was some seriousness. I'm sorry. Now let's go for the silliness. All right. What do we got here? Look at this one. I love this lady. She was like my new favorite person on the internet. She is just, she's so much like what I used to be, as far as just my beliefs go or went and everything. So it's wildly entertaining to see just how just how I sounded back then. You know what I mean? Anyway, here we go.
Today, I want to share with you something about yoga that you may not have known about before. And I know for sure that I didn't the 2 years that I practiced yoga, which is that when you are doing yoga, you are engaging in a prayer to demons. Before you call me crazy, and
before you call me crazy, stop. Don't hear me out. Yeah, I love it. And Spider said, if you want to get down in the nitty gritty, the universe cares about making black holes. Exactly. And that's what we're talking about when we say that the universe doesn't care about anything. It's because of that. It's just an obvious fact. I guess it's not obvious to everybody, but it's obvious to those of us that are asking the right questions, I'd say. Hey, Pandora, what's going on? How you doing? Where you been? Where the hell have you been? You missed a doozy. Wow. Could have used your help. Theo was having a drag, Theo was actually pulling the weight for all of us actually through that one, because I got kind of lost. I'm gonna be honest. It was a bit much.
Before you roll your eyes at me, I would love to take you into the yoga world today and show you how this is not merely just a
look at that. It's like he's raising his hand to ask question. Who's he raising? Who's the teacher that he's raising his hand to ask question? A demon. That's it. That's what happened there.
Sequence of stretches, and it is much deeper and much darker than you may think. Let's dive in.
Whoa.
I started to look deeper into what yoga was.
Sorry, y'all. That was really freaking loud. Jeez. And out of nowhere. All right.
As when I invited a friend from my church to a yoga class, and she instantly was like, Taylor, I feel like I have seen somewhere that yoga might not be the best thing for Christians to.
I know this person's face. Where have I seen his face? It looks very familiar. Oh, wow, that's going to drive me crazy. Who is that young lady? I know that lady.
Engage in. But still, I convinced her to come to a class. And because she was so hesitant about it, it made me more alert to what was going on in the class and what the instructor was saying and what she exactly was having us do. And I had been attending these classes, guys, for like 2 years. And I had never.
That's a lot of demon worship, dude. 2 years worth of demon worship. How are you going to? It's going to take a lot of rosary beads. Tell you what, you're going to have to say quite a few Hail Marys. That's for sure.
Really notice that we are guided into a prayer-like position at the end of every class. And the class and this prayer is usually closed out with this word that is namaste. And if you're wondering what that word means, so was I when I started taking deep.
It's like, crap, I forgot. Shoot. It's all right, dude. You can go back later and watch. It's all right. You know, these stay recorded and you remember. So even if I switch them to, membership right after, you're good. You're good. It's okay. It's all right. You know, but 10:15 tomorrow. Seriously, don't be late next time. I'm seriously going to hold you to account. All right. If this happens again, you know, it's cool this time, but that's it. Then, you know, my forgiveness runs out. Okay. Grace and mercy out the window. Okay.
For look, I was like, you know what is this? And why is the whole class repeating this word after the instructor says it? Well, namaste is a Sanskrit word, and it actually means I bow to you. In the context of yoga, it translates to the divine in me bows to the divine in you.
It says honors. You're not even reading your nonsense right, dude. Like it said, the divine in me honors the divine in you. Okay. Okay. So what, dude? Like, who cares? Look, it's a Hindu greeting, right? Isn't this a Hindu thing? So yeah, they believe that all people have like the divine in them or whatever in the Hindu religion. And so honestly, if you just look at this like from any other standpoint, like just a normal standpoint, they're just saying, hey, I respect you. And they go, yeah, I respect you too. That's it. That's all this is. That's all namaste is.
Do you have any idea what the word divine means? In other words, the God in me bows to the God in you.
Whoa, man. That means we're all gods. Oh my God. That's right. Oh my God. Exactly. Because I am one. No, Jesus Christ. It's a different culture, man. Like they have different. Never mind.
Again, Satan.
And I don't think that it actually means, I think divine has more to do with like, can't you be divine because you were made by a god? Can't that still count as a god? Or I mean, as divine? You don't have to be a god in order to be divine. You could just be something that was made by a divine being, a fully divine being. Because they're also saying that you're not entirely divine. There's an aspect to you that is divine. I'm going way too deep into this. I don't know why I'm giving her so much.
Satan wanting us to worship man and creation rather than the creator. Also, if you have ever attended a yoga,
they have plenty of gods that they worship, dude. Like those are Hindu gods. Like they have a bunch of creators, dude.
Yoga class, then you probably have heard this word.
Yeah, it's actually you know what that does. This is kind of interesting. Okay, so when you hum, like you know, some people hum when they're nervous, right? Or when they're like around other people. You know, some people just talk, which is very off-putting, can be honest. And I actually find myself doing it sometimes. And then I realize when other people do it, I'm like, oh, that's what I do. That's really awkward. Because you just be like, anyway, where's that thing I'm looking for? Oh, wait, is that it? Is that, oh no, you're at the grocery store. You're like, is that the Trader Joe's macaroni and cheese? Or is it, oh, that has pepperonis in it. No, that is not the macaroni and cheese that I am looking for. Where is, yeah, but they just do that because it makes them feel more comfortable, right? Well, humming does the same thing because when you vibrate your throat or whatever, it I guess it activates some part of your brain that is like saliva and stuff and digestion. And so it activates that, which usually your saliva and digestion is when you're not in like a panic zone or whatever. Like when you're panicking, you're not digesting and stuff, right? Like you're in your fight, flight or freeze, whatever. You're not in that digestive mode. So like when you activate that, it helps to calm and relax your mind, which is why they do the, you know. I always it's funny because like my first experience hearing that thing was Chong when he was trying to get Cheech to chill after he took all that Sid, you know, after he took all the Sid and didn't realize it. Like, oh, don't take those, man. What do you mean? I already took them, man.
which is a sacred syllable believed to represent the sound of the universe. As
Oh.
Christians, we know better than to pray to the universe.
Oh man, you don't ever pray to the universe. Damn it. Again, I thought that they had gods too. They're like the stuff that she's pulling this from. It's like she's not even trying to understand the culture and stuff any further than to just say that it's evil and say that they're worshiping the universe. Like nobody said that they were necessarily worshiping the universe by making that noise. They're just saying that like making that noise like gets you in tune with the universe.
Because the
I don't know
world
what I'm
is
doing.
passing away. And none of this, guys, should be surprising due to yoga's origin. The word yoga was first mentioned in ancient sacred texts called the Rig Veda. The Rig Veda is a collection of over 1,000 hymns.
That's all rigged. I don't know. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. This kid said divine garbage hybrid. Was that like a type? Is that the strain that you like? Is that do you get that down at the green place where you get the strains? You can get them if you got your green card. You can go down there. It's like $500. You get your green card. Okay, not that kind. Not the traveler kind. Anyway, but you get that. You go down there and then you can ask for whatever strain you want. Is that the hybrid? What is divine garbage hybrid? I mean, that sounds like a. I don't know if I'd buy one that's called garbage, but maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's like a pizza. You know, they have the garbage pizza. Those things are good, even though they're called garbage. I don't know why.
In 10 chapters known as mandalas, the Rig Veda is all about karma and devotion to multiple false gods.
Yeah, it's Hinduism, man. But it's crazy that they like, can't you just take you don't have to do all the things in Hinduism or whatever. It's not like you are a Hindu person because you do yoga, right? Like it's just kind of like paying some respect to the source of where these exercises came from, right? It's not necessarily saying that you are that thing now. Here's what always like drives me nuts with these people. How do you worship stuff without realizing it? How does that even happen? You're telling me that you can accidentally worship gods without even knowing that that's what you're doing because you just want to get some stretches in, you know, and it's kind of fun and kind of feels good, you know, to get all stretched out like that and doing, and that activates your saliva thing, which is just naturally relaxing and all this other stuff. Like you can accidentally worship gods and that makes it evil.
Practice of yoga is associated with the false god Shiva, who is often depicted as the first yogi. Shiva is said to have passed down the teachings of yoga to his disciples, who then spread it throughout India. And
oh, wow. I did not know that. I didn't know that Shiva. Well, first of all, I thought Shiva was a woman. I didn't know. Is that okay? So Shiva is. I don't know if I should trust her. Her information here. I don't know if she knows the gender of the anyway. But yeah, I didn't know that. So Shiva isn't that the god of destruction or something? Oh no, I'm sorry. It's like the god of life and destruction. It's both. Just yeah, they're not necessarily bad, but it's funny when you'll see a lot of these fundies and stuff. Like I wonder if she's about to say that it's the god of destruction, because I've heard them. Damn, what were they talking about? It was the World Economic Forum. That's what it was, and they were talking. They had some kind of statue of Shiva at the World Economic Forum. It's a big conspiracy thing. It doesn't matter. It's just a bunch of business people making connections and trying anyway. But the conspiracy people are terrified of the World Economic Forum, and it has like some statue of the Hindu god Shiva, right? And whenever it's like covered by these fundy weirdo conspiracy people, they're always like, it's the god of death and destruction and evil, you know, just to make it like as scary as possible. But when I went back and looked up like why it was like the World Economic Forum had that, it was like they said they were like paying respects to like some of the Hindu folks that were really influential for getting it started. And they said because Shiva was the god of like life and death, right? And so it was like bringing stuff into existence. And so they literally had it exactly backwards. That was what they were paying respects to, not the opposite.
Wow. If you know anything about the devil, then you know that he is God's biggest copycat. And he obviously has his own gospel that he is trying to spread around this world. So it's no surprise that he copied God and has his own disciples sharing.
It's funny too, because like it's weird that you said that, Theo. It's an accidental blasphemy, right? And it always reminds me, like, okay, so have you ever like gotten all in your head when you like think somebody? It's like when you think somebody is like doing something to you on purpose. There was this one guy I worked with, and I don't know how much information I gave. Okay, there was like all these different rooms, right, that we would clean, and he got this new section. He was like scheduled for that particular section, and he said that the one person in that room was messing up the room extra because he didn't like him. And I was like, I don't think that's related, dude. I did that room before you got scheduled to it, and just as bad. Did he hate both of us? Like, you know, kind of thing. And it's just kind of funny because like that accidental blasphemy makes it seem like God is like that. Because like, I think he was doing that to mess. No, I saw him down there. Okay. He was waving his hands in a way that was, I feel like that was too Hindu. The way he moved those hands. I feel personally offended. Okay. I think he's purposely, no, he's trying to mess with me. That's what, you know what? Smite. I'm going to smite this. Just wait till he gets up here. Okay. I'm going to throw him in the lake first. Melt his freaking face. That's what I'm going to do. You know, that's what it sounds like. God's like, you know.
His gospel that leads to death. And if you have been following along with our witchcraft series here on this channel, you know that
I have been following along with your witchcraft things, whatever you said, the series.
Talked a lot about the 5 elements. Well, what do you know, guys?
Yep, the 5 elements. I'm like so just right there with you right now.
Yoga as well is tied into the 5 elements.
Oh my gosh, it's almost like they're sort of the basis of our entire reality or something. That's crazy. You mean 2 different things or both? Wow.
Just like witchcraft, yoga honors the elements and connects to the healing power of.
Dude, the elements are literally what our reality is made of, dude. Like what the fuck? Like wind, earth, fire, and water. The water one's real important. Fire one's pretty important too. You know, if you don't want to get parasites in your meat and everything. Earth, we kind of got to walk on that stuff. And then the wind, it feels nice, you know, on like a hot day. So that matters a lot too. I could see finding that stuff to be really important if I just was a person dropped into this reality without any idea how we got here or what any of this stuff is or anything like that. Anyway.
Earth, water, fire, air, and ether, meaning space. There is real meaning behind the.
Oh, there's a 5th. What? An ether. What? The ether? Wait, from the reality stone? Is that what? I don't know.
Connects to the healing power of earth, water, fire, air, and ether, meaning space. There is real meaning behind the poses that you are doing in yoga because this is real and it is spiritual. And obviously the people that.
And this is real. These evil other culture that I just happen to not be part of.
Believe in this really think that they are praying to gods, but they are false gods. When you pray to anyone or anything that isn't Jesus Christ, you are praying to the demonic realm. You are praying to demonic spirits. And these.
Wow. See what they have to do? Like, and remember, this is the religion that, you know, that teaches us that all humans have value. Remember that from the last video. The only way that you can, you know, see human beings as having value is through their particular religion or whatever, right? And then now they're just saying that their entire other culture, like they're all literally worshiping demons because they just aren't your culture. They're just not a white evangelical, and so worshiping demons, right? So their whole culture is evil. Like that's, jeez Louise, man. Like how does it? Like that's what I'm saying. Like it doesn't take much to go from that to the Hitler stuff we were talking about, man. You know, like that's not that far of a stretch from just believing that this entire other culture is evil to doing what he did, you know?
Positions, contorting your body in this certain weird way is in honor and in praise of false gods, which are demons. Let's start with the tree pose. Generally believed to be an act of devotion towards the goddess Sita. The dancer pose is in honor of an invocation toward the god Shiva, centered around the process.
Music saying, I heard a new atheist joke yesterday. Blasphemy is a victimless crime. Probably an old joke, new to me. Yeah, you're referring to the song? NoFX has a song called that, Blasphemy, the victimless crime. And yes, it is a victimless crime. Just like prostitution, they were saying. Although, I don't know, somebody maybe could get sick. I don't know, because that could be a victimful crime if somebody's getting harmed, you know. Anyway, I don't know.
Of reincarnation, as well as the destruction and remanifestation of the universe. The warrior pose 1, 2, and 3 is telling a story, a dark and demonic story. The 3 poses represent stages in the life of Virabhadra. He was a god supposedly created by—
It's crazy. They got a lot of blue people, you know? It's like, makes me feel like the X-Men got some of their style from Hindu gods or something, because there's a lot of blue people. I don't know. It just seems odd to me. But anyway, is that thing still up? Oh my goodness. This thing is driving me crazy.
by Shiva to avenge the death of his wife Sadie. Warrior 1 pose represents him bursting forth from the ground, propelled by Shiva's desire for vengeance.
Oh wow, look at that. And if their skin was green, well, then that'd be Blanca. So it's another thing. Anyway, it's, you know.
Warrior 2 symbolizes Virabhadra's violent entrance into a banquet feast being conducted by Daksha, Sadie's father. The beheading of Daksha and the slaughter.
Whoa, that guy. He seems way too happy about this beheading that's about to go on here. Unless is that, or is that just a surprised face? Like, I'm gonna wait, what? You're gonna what? You're gonna do what to my head? What? And he's just quite too calm, you know, too, about this whole thing, it seems. Wow, he's got a lot of arms. A lot of arms going on over here.
Of the guests at the festival. And the Warrior 3 pose is a dramatic reenactment of placing Daksha's head on a stake. Shiva later regretted his outburst.
Hold on, what? This is such a weird way to go about this. It represents that, and so you're basically it's just like you're basically decapitating gods and stuff if you're doing this. All right, so evil. It's evil if you do this one kind of pose. That means that you are getting ready to decapitate stuff.
Burst of anger and its devastating results, and he made amends by placing the head of a goat on Daksha, who had been decapitated.
Oh, poor Daksha. Man, that sucks. That's a bad day for everybody. Wait, he got like reanimated with a sheep head. Man, it's like that weird lamb movie. Don't take acid and watch that. Don't do it. Don't. It will ruin your entire life from that point forward.
You do the warrior poses, this is what you are paying homage to. The half moon pose is dedicated to Ganesha, the god who is depicted as
The elephant one. The elephant. This is as far as I understand, he's kind of the heavy favorite, right? Ganesh. I thought it was Ganesh, not just. Wait, is it Ganesh or Dinesh? Wait, what did you say?
When you do the warrior poses, this is what you are paying homage to. The half moon
It's homage. You know what? Never mind. Forget.
Pose is dedicated to Ganesha, the god who is depicted.
Never mind. I thought it was somebody. It was Dinesh, isn't it?
As having a human-like body,
think-
but the head of an elephant. He was decapitated by
Ganesh.
Shiva because of a misunderstanding. So Shiva had his servants cut off the head of an elephant and put it on Ganesha. The splits pose.
Hold on. So wait. So that kind of takes the sting out of the earlier doing the pose thing, right? If in whatever this realm or universe is, you can just pop heads right back on. Who cares, right? Like that's, I thought it was kind of like an ending a person fully, but no, apparently you can just go grab an elephant head and make it all better. Like, so it's not even that big of a deal now, right?
A worshipful posture toward Hanuman, who is part monkey and part human in his appearance and is considered the false god of wisdom, courage, and self-discipline. The goddess pose, a worshipful offering.
God equals the square root of 1. Says paying homage is wrong. Yes, because it's homage. It's not, she didn't say it. She didn't say it right. Pay homage. But come on, what do you? No, that's not how you say it.
To the fierce, dark, intimidating goddess named Kali. One Hindu writer explains, Kali is a Hindu goddess of death, time, and destruction. She is the Shakti, the divine feminine power, regarded as the
divine feminine. So that's like, that's what that one guy is always talking about. The Spencer Smith or whatever, he's always talking about divine feminine. And basically it's just any time that people respect any woman, really, for that matter, he's like, that's they're worshiping the divine feminine, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And so I didn't realize it came from Hindu stuff. I thought he was always getting it from something else he called oh shit, what is it? I can't think of it. It's like basically Gnosticism. That's what he called it. Anyway.
The mother of the entire universe and is a symbol of contemporary womanhood, especially in the West. This is considered to be the mother of the universe, this gory goddess of death. And again, we know as Christians,
gory goddess of death. Have you met your God, dude? Have you met yours? He can't forgive people unless he not only, it's not any quick thing like that. No, he has to torture murder like his own kiddo. It just to be like, yeah, I forgive you. That's your God. That's the God you worship. Okay. But this is just, oh no, this is too bad. Come on.
Christians, that this is a demon. And essentially, when we do this pose, we are praying to this demon.
It doesn't help that the pose looks really funny.
We are invoking this demon. The crocodile pose, associated with the river goddess Ganga. The cat-cow pose, a worshipful offering to the female deity Saraswati. One advocate suggests use this practice.
Who goes into all this, man? Like, who cares? This is so weird. They're like, oh, it's this, that, and the other. Like, but they're just, a lot of them are like, they stretch you out too, right? Like, it's not just this God, whatever stuff, God worship shit.
To call
it's like also a stretch of some kind, right?
On
it just seems like it's like after the fact, like, and this one can be in honor of, let's see what this one kind of looks like. You're standing kind of funny. That could be like that Colleen guy with this holding the decapitated head. If you look, yeah. It's a good stretch, really, but we could just say that it worships that God or something. Like, was it made up after I don't know, but
Saraswati. Whenever you need to remember your highest truth from within. If you read your Bible, then you would know that the Apostle Paul was very clear about this. He actually covered everything we talked about in this video. What am I trying to say? Am I saying that food offered to idols has some significance or that idols are real gods? No. Not at all. I am saying that these sacrifices are offered to demons, not to God. And I don't want you to participate with demons.
I want to participate with demons. And it's funny though, this part too, with Paul, like if you look at the Old Testament and stuff, like they actually did believe in other gods. If you read the Old Testament, they don't call them demons or anything. When they're talking about like the Moloch and Baal and all that type of stuff, they were actually other gods that to the Hebrews in the Old Testament, like they believed existed, like other gods existed. It was Paul that started doing this. Like, oh no, everybody else's gods are actually demons, which is just, again, kind of gross, kind of a gross thing. It's like, dude, just don't worship. You don't have to say anything about their religions or whatever. Like, you can just say, yeah, I don't worship those religions or whatever. But no, he has to take it to another level and go, no, they're worshiping demons. They're evil. That's like that's how evil they are. What's important to them, what's as important to them as Jesus Christ is to me, is evil. It's demonic. It's bad, right? Because only what's important to you truly matters,
And it doesn't matter what your intentions are behind yoga, because it doesn't change the fact that it's a spiritual practice.
It's not just the stretching that gives relief.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't matter what your intentions are at all when it comes to stretching. This is how pathetic their God is. It gets offended. It gets offended if the poses of some kind of stretching thing was at some point associated with some other belief system that had other gods that exist that they believed in and honored or whatever. So it doesn't matter if you're just trying to get a stretch in. Okay. What if you're just stretching to before you go running and you happen to accidentally do one of the yoga poses? Does that count too? If your intentions don't matter at all, then even if you're not trying to do the yoga, you can accidentally do the yoga. Like you could accidentally do yoga by maybe trying to do 2 stairs at a time when you're going up a staircase or something. And that pose of, taking the 2 steps at a time, that could be some yoga pose that is worshiping a demon, and you're worshiping demons without even realizing it because your intentions don't matter at all.
From back pain and people feel good about it initially, but as people keep doing it, it becomes spiritual, and people won't even know that the transformation has happened in their mind. People won't know that.
And until the past
it becomes spiritual at some point. Okay.
decades, Christianity has been extremely against Eastern religions. Why? Because they contradict everything that the Bible teaches. Yet today we have
what did he say? That Christianity has been extremely against Eastern religions. Jeez Louise, way to make yourself sound terrible.
church leaders that invite Christians to practice yoga at their churches. Christians everywhere are practicing yoga and are completely unaware of what they are.
Faith with a twist. This is why you can't be a Christian. You can't be a Christian and literally do anything. They're gonna find some way to make it into demon worship. If you are doing literally anything, it doesn't matter. At this point, couldn't you say with playing baseball, how they do that kick, and you kick up in the air before you throw the ball or whatever. They're like, that's a yoga pose. Demon, you're a demon. Can't play baseball anymore. Sorry. Hey, doesn't matter about your intentions. Maybe your intention was just to pitch the ball, but you ended up doing a yoga pose that worships a demon. So no more baseball. That's all that is,
Are doing. And guess what? No surprise here on this channel, but the enemy uses entertainment. New Age has been heavily pushed in movies and shows designed for children. In physical education in schools now, they're even practicing yoga for kids.
Yeah, yoga for kids. Unbelievable. Yeah, there was in my district or in the county that I'm from, they actually removed it from schools for people like her. Yeah, they're like, no doing yoga, because they would do just some stretches or whatever before they go do running or whatever.
Even the daycare near my house has a yoga session for little children, for toddlers.
In addition, each unit ends.
All these toddlers are accidentally worshiping demons without even realizing it. Oh my God.
With an opportunity for them to practice yoga and mindful meditation.
This is evil, and it's worship to false gods.
This is evil. She just says it. It's so funny. Oh God, that's so good.
I pray through this video that you see yoga for what it truly is. Think twice before you engage in it and let your
What's up, Atomic Punk? How we doing, man? That's all right. A lot of people were late today. Yeah, it's Sunday. You're allowed to sleep in. We're heathens.
friends and your family know what this truly is. There's so much power when we bring what is hidden in the dark into the light. The enemy does not want people to know what they are really doing when they are practicing yoga. God bless you guys. As always,
The enemy does not want people to know what they are doing. Yeah, the devil is really crafty. He allows you to not be aware of the crimes that you're doing against a God without Jesus Christ. Like, I swear the Christian God is just so insecure and irrational. Okay. He's just constantly assuming everybody, it's always a personal attack on him. You know, we've all had that friend and they are insane. And you don't want to, you know, like, dude, they weren't like, they weren't trying to hurt you or anything, man. They were just, you know, they were just walking over there to get whatever, you know, they just always have some kind of rationalization of everybody's out trying to hurt them or, you know, trying to be disrespectful to them or whatever. And you're like, yeah, I don't even think they noticed you at all, but okay.
see you in the comments and I'll see you for our next video. Bye. Hi. If you like today's video and you
Hi. I did actually. I did like it. It was pretty funny. This lady is something else. I don't know what her deal is. Why is there like another short one? Thought I had a oh, here we go. Let's talk about this. We'll start and finish. How long has it been? How much time we got? Okay, 15 minutes. All right. Yeah, we'll do this last one. Okay. Oh, it's Eddie Bravo. That's the dude's name. I forgot because I don't care. But he went on Joe Rogan, and I guess he's some kind of karate instructor turned comedian, conspiracy theory dude, or whatever. Anyway, he's trying to say that something about the what do you call it? The Shroud of Turin. And somehow that proves God or something. I don't know.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
When you had Mel Gibson on your podcast the other day, he brought up the Shroud of Turin.
Yeah.
And
Lord, this look up of my cat to sleep. Yeah, it's hard to bore a cat. They are very focused. You know, they don't they don't fall asleep easily or anything.
I always thought that was fake. It was like in the 80s.
What is that,
And
Eddie?
the shroud, it's like the cloth that Jesus was buried in and left an image of him.
Uh-huh.
And in the 80s, like 1988, they did carbon dating on it. And they go, oh, it's fake. See that?
Yeah, it literally
So
has
I've
like
never-
the image of Jesus
Yeah,
burned into it somehow or another.
I never looked into it. I just figured it was fake. But listening to you and Mel Gibson
Yeah.
talk about it, I'm like,
It's
what?
real?
Is there?
Well, apparently it's a lot older than they assumed when they did the first testing. And one of the problems is
Holy
that there's
shit.
cross-contamination. There's also been repairs to it. But they did subsequent testing and they found that it was like 2,000 plus years old.
Yeah, and the one
Couldn't
thing,
it?
it's
in
the
range.
most studied artifact ever.
Damn.
Like,
I don't know about that. But okay, with the I don't know much about the Shroud of Turin. I'm going to be completely honest. But as far as I can tell, even if it was some shroud that wrapped some person that was either crucified or just whatever, just somebody who passed away, who cares? Like, what does this matter? I never understand how this solves anything. Like, people being crucified by the Romans was like mundane as all freaking get out. Like, that's just something that constantly happened, you know? And yet somehow they're like, yeah, but the face was on the sheet that wrapped them. And so Jesus is actually God. I get, like, I don't get it.
particle physicists, nuclear engineers, they all studied it, and they
Nuclear energy. Nuclear engineers checked it out. Wow. I don't know what they were doing with it. What were they doing? It's like, this sucker is nuclear. We got to test this for nuclearness.
some of them, some believe in it, some don't believe in it, but they all agree on one thing: no one knows how they did it.
Right.
There's
no one knows
paint,
how they made it. It's
There's
not
no paint. There's
Yeah.
no dye. So, dude, all this week, dude, all day, I'm just watching.
So what? That doesn't mean anything. Just because you don't know how the magician does the magic trick, does that mean that she's actually being cut in half? You know, and just because You can't tell exactly how Chris Angel, you know, put the trash can over his body and then ended up on the second floor. Right. I still have not got that one figured out, man. I would like to learn how he does that. If it wasn't a camera trick or something, but I don't think Chris Angel's magic, just because I don't know how he got from the upside down trash can up to the second floor in a few seconds. I don't think he's actually magical. You know what? I think it was an illusion of some kind.
Documentary after podcast on this shit, and it's fucking mind blowing.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Mind blowing.
It doesn't seem like it takes much for you, dude. Like, you were like, wow, this picture of the Statue of Liberty doesn't look anything like this picture of the devil, and you're like, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. Whoa. Like, yeah, no, it doesn't take much.
It turns out that they can't figure out how anyone could ever do it. Like, if no one has come up with a theory of how to do that today, that's what.
Is that the same guy with the Statue of Liberty? Yeah, that's why I just said,
where it gets really interesting.
There's
because it wasn't paint and it wasn't dye and
they all agree on that.
Wasn't burned.
They all agree it's a mystery, but then the skeptics say, just because we don't know how it was done doesn't make it real, which is a good point.
Oh, okay, good. Well, I'm glad at least you see that it's a good point, because it's I guess it's kind of a good point. Anyway, I think that it was magic, dude. It was magic.
But then the other side's like, dude, all these scientists have no idea how they faked it. It's got to be real. So it's all about how you look at it.
That's not. Wow, like that doesn't equal that. Just because scientists can't figure something, this is like a God of the Gaps argument. Holy Lord, and it's not. Wow, it actually is. It is literally, like, specifically a God of the Gaps argument. They're just like, we don't know how this face got on this cloth. And so therefore God, and not even just a God, it's like the Jesus God, you know, like specifically.
Thing on the side be real.
There's a nuclear engineer.
Most fun.
There's a new.
Oh, sorry. What was his name? I was gonna. Yeah, shoot. Now I missed it. You said he runs some kind of channel. Damn, where did that comment go? Oh, there he is. Eddie Bravo. Atomic said Eddie Bravo is out there. He runs the 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. Oh, he's Jiu-Jitsu. Oh, okay. Those guys are always like that. Jiu-Jitsu people are nuts. We can all agree on that, right? The Jiu-Jitsu people, there's something. The Taekwondo people are the best. Okay, I think we can all, right? Kevin's shaking his head, yeah. The Taekwondo people, best ones out there. Karate people, well, there's two camps. You got the karate people that are just normal, and they're pretty cool. But if they pronounce it karate, no, get away from them. Get away from those people. Suck. Okay, they got insecurity issues. They want to make themselves sound like they know everything better than you do by how they pronounce words. Get away from them. They're terrible. And then beyond that terrible, awful person, then you have the jiu-jitsu people, and they just. I mean, look at this guy. I feel like he's
nuclear engineer. You can go on YouTube. His name is Robert Rucker. Watch his breakdown. This guy's a nuclear dude. He's breaking down the photo. It's insane because it's a negative image on a non-photographic material. It's linen.
Right.
And then it turns out, like, if you look at it with the naked eye, it's white, and then you see the image of the face is kind of like yellow. You can barely see it. But in like 1898, some photographer took a picture of it and then flipped and then looked at the negative, and then all of a sudden in the negative, the whole body appears, front and back, because he was buried like with a
front and back.
See the images, Jamie?
He was buried with the sheet under him, and it went around his head. That's the back of him, because the
right one.
Dude is so excited about this thing. Oh, that's funny. Okay, I kind of see it. I still don't understand what the significance. Who cares? So somebody was like buried in a sheet. I don't know.
One's the back and the left one's the front. That's crazy.
No one knows how they did it. No sign.
Like, couldn't it have just? I mean, maybe I'm crazy, but couldn't it have just been like for the constant like pressure or something that ended up like indenting it in a particular way or something, and then that like just got, I don't know. Like I don't know exactly what they're saying. They're saying there is no dyes. Okay, but there's other ways that does like these imprints or whatever can end up on a cloth other than What are they trying to say? Like it was like it magicked? It's like it has to have magically appeared on there because scientists can't specifically say what like exactly how these markings got on it. Is that really what we're doing here? Wow. It's great. It's just kind of it's a testament to like show how much people will just believe something and then just make shit up later as to why.
The holes where the wrist would be nailed.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Wow.
That was the thing with Jesus. With me, it's very hard. It was always very hard to believe in Jesus. I'm like,
Agreed.
dude, the resurrection, like that's a hard one to wrap your brain around, right? I could believe that he.
What's up, Logan? How you doing, man? So my dad could beat up your dad. Mentality. Yeah. That's funny. There was an album. There was this band. Crap. No, I can't think of what they're called. Anyway, that was the name of the album. It's My Daddy Can Beat Up Your Daddy. And it was like these two kids, you know, like that. And it was a Christian, it was a Christian rock album. Because their dad's God. And he actually can beat up your dad. So yeah. It's you know, anyway, that's just what it reminds me of. Yeah. Let's see what else to say. Grand Theft Auto Bot said, I think karate. It took me a second. I had to read it out loud before I got what you were doing. I think karate is technically the correct. You get out right now. I don't, you know, I'm not. Can everybody throw paper balls? Throw paper balls at Grand Theft Auto Bot's head right now. Class, throw. Okay, hold on. Technically, the correct way to pronounce it from the Japanese, sake is pronounced sake. Dude, you are the. I'm just kidding. But oh, that's funny. Okay, yeah, it's like boo, boo, woo, woo, nerd alert. No, I'm just kidding. But no, you're probably right. But that's what makes it annoying. Okay, because
existed, I could believe that he got crucified. A lot of people got crucified, but the resurrection was always the thing that kept me from
bye, I'm out.
Believing in Jesus. I'm like, there's no way the resurrection was real.
But even if this is real, Eddie, it doesn't mean
I got pilloried. Pilloried. Is that where people throw paper balls at your head until you leave? That's being pillar. I never knew it was actually. I didn't realize it was a word for it. Actually, I just thought it was what happens when a teacher tells the class to throw paper balls at a person. And
he was resurrected, right? It just means he was crucified and he was the actual real man.
No, the thing is how the image got on. The people that believe that it's real believe that when he was resurrected, some kind of ultraviolet radiation, some kind of burst made that image. Because
okay. So that's how we get to the. So it literally is. It's a God of the gaps. We can't figure out how it happened, and so this must have been the energy leaving Jesus's body when he came back to life. But hold on, how? But there was no blood on it. He said. How could it be Jesus's thing if there was no blood on it? Are you saying that like Jesus wasn't that bloody? He just had like a little bloody nose, like in the movies when the bad guy or the good guy like gets the crap kicked out of him like the entire movie, but they got there's a little blood, there's a little, it's coming out of their nose, right? Maybe a little on their lip too, just to make sure their face got punched like 70 times throughout this whole thing. Jeez Louise. Okay. Stupid. That's funny. Okay. Logan was saying he had to look it up, but music said I still have effing Petra. Michael W. Smith. Oh man, God, I forgot about that one. Rich Mullins. That's funny. Rich Mullins. That My Deliverer. So I used to love that. We used to play it. Like we made it into a punk version. Least cool thing I've ever done in my life, but we made like a punk version of My Deliverer's Coming, and it's a catchy song. I'll give it that. But yeah, I used to love that song. Petra, yeah, I remember Petra. Michael W. Smith is find my face in this world. Okay, but it's my head unbidden causes a wave of nausea every time. Every time the songs pop into your head, it causes a wave of nausea. Nice. Okay.
Because that image has never been on any other shroud. people get buried in shrouds all the
Oh
time.
my
There's
God.
never an image. Like
Thank
that.
you. Yeah. Giselle, I totally lost on this one. Giselle's like, have we had any? No, we haven't had any at all, actually. So thank you. We have not had any Adam and Eves ads. See how I messed that? That makes sense. That mess up was very, it made perfect sense. I called on the Adam and Eves instead of ads because of that. Anyway, go to adamandeve.com, enter code word Brentley at checkout to get 50% off almost any item, 6 free movies, 3 free gifts, and free shipping on the whole order. Go to adamandeve.com, enter that code word Brentley. Adam and Eve is America's #1 adult toy dispensary. Yeah, they have everything from stuff you see up there to other stuff that you see up there and everything in between. So yeah, go to adamandeve.com, enter my special code, which is Brentley, Brently. That's my name. I don't know if that's been communicated. But that's me. And you will get 50% off almost any one item. There's like 2 or 3 things seriously out of the whole catalog that you can't get 50% off of. And that's because, well, they're huge. Okay. They're giant. It's like a giant swing that goes in your room. Anyway. But yeah, so go to adamandeve.com, enter that code word and get your exclusive offer and, spice up your time in the room. They also have a really quick delivery. And the packaging is discreet. So it doesn't say like anything that you get, you can have it delivered to your place. Nobody's going to know what it is. Okay. Unless you got weirdos going through your packages, but hopefully you don't. Yeah, so go there, get that stuff. It comes quickly. And so I don't know if I could say that anymore. I keep getting demonetized over it. So, but yeah, go to adamandeve.com. The package comes quickly. Do with that what you will. Okay. I'm not going to make it any more specific than that. All right, here we go. Thank you, Giselle. I appreciate that.
Crazy. And the crazy thing is the blood, there's no image under the blood. So the blood was there first, and then the image is after.
What?
It's crazy shit.
What the hell does that mean? Because I was just about to ask. So like, wait, so it has nothing to do with the blood? The blood wasn't I'm so confused by this whole thing. Okay. So, but it was the blood was on there, and then the whole thing happened after the blood. What, man? What? I don't. Okay. And it couldn't just be that, like, when they took the thing off, it made like where there was more pressure, less bloody or whatever. Like the imprint came off of that. And, because you said you had blood there, there's like multiple ways to, if there is blood there, then there's absolutely a way that it could have gotten on the shroud, absent of magic, right? Whatever, dude. This is insane,
dude. I'm like,
dude. That's like I can make fun of him saying, dude. Never mind. Cut that out. Yeah, let's cut. I didn't make fun of him saying, dude, as if that's something I don't say all the time.
I went deep down a rabbit hole all week just
and
watching.
If you want to go deep, just go to, and I gotta smash him in now. I gotta smash it. If you want to smash it in. Okay, that was too. I went too long. I'm sorry. Can we cut that too? Yeah, let's cut. We got a bunch of stuff we're gonna have to cut now. Go to adamandeve.com and through that code word Brentley at checkout. Sorry, I gotta get as many in now in the last 2 minutes as humanly possible. So
the skeptics, the scientists, particle physics, they have no idea.
Oh, it's 4:49.
Yeah, how the fuck that image got on the front and back, the back of them too.
Both sides? That's impossible. Stuff never gets on both sides. We all know that. Okay, one side maybe, right? Both are get out of here. Okay, what are you even talking about? Oh my god, I'm so confused. I have no idea what like how any of that fits to any of the stuff they're saying it fits to. All it seems to be to me is there's a pretty neat like image on a cloth, and some people are like, this is too neat for it not to be magic. That's it. That's all we got. So it's got to be magic now. Anyway, geez Louise, this is insane. Well, hey, thank you all so much for hanging out. I really appreciate y'all, doing the. Oh, and if you want to hit that like button, I'd appreciate it. Hey, it's or smash that like button. right? Yeah, if you want to support us, you can support us by supporting our sponsor, AdamandEve.com, right? Which we've already covered very quickly, quite a bit at the very end here. But you know, it just as a reminder, you get 50% off almost any one item, almost anyone, other than that damn swing that's just too big. Anyway, go to AdamandEve.com, enter that code word Brentley at checkout, and you can support us that way. You know, or you can do a bunch of other crap, right? You can go to patreon.com/An Apostate, right? And get up there. They got a bunch of extra stuff. You can also go, if you just want to do a one-time thing on Cash App, I totally understand that. And you can just put in our cash tag, which is An Apostate, all one word. The best way, though, I think of it, you know, get the most bang for your buck at the moment is becoming a member, right? And you hit that little membership button. You get an extra live stream every single week that is just for members. You also get a lot of times that it goes to members like almost immediately after it's done being live. Every so often, not too often, but here or there, right? So you get those two. Also, you can you get videos earlier that are released for members first, and then everybody else after that. You know, get a bunch of stuff, right? You get priority in the chat. Anyway, got a bunch of stuff. But if you want to email me, you can email me at punkapostate@gmail.com. If I get anything wrong, or if I'm just not, I don't know, not focusing on something enough, or you will want to send me specifically something that you want me to cover or whatever, you can do that. Also, you can join the Discord. Actually, if you want to give us suggestions, Discord's actually the best place to do that. I love taking suggestions and reacting to what y'all send. So you should check it out. Also, you can follow me on all the socials, and all those links are below. So yeah, check it out. But thank you all so much, seriously, for hanging out, and we will see you next time.